Now, my guess is that this video is going to be posted right around the Christmas weekend, and so in the spirit of looking back over 2023 and being grateful for everything I've been blessed with, both material and otherwise, I wanted to reflect on my best cost per wear items this year and what this means for my luxury wish list for 2024. So these are items that, looking back over the past 12 months, I can proudly say, yep, I got my money's worth out of this purchase and it was worth every hard-earned penny. Now, spoiler alert, there's only one bag that made it on the list. So that's really something I need to keep in mind for 2024. So if you are curious to know what luxury items I've gotten my money's worth out of this year, I hope you keep watching. So let's start with jewelry. So my first best cost per wear designer item is my Hermes silver Chandon ring, which currently retails for about $480. I bought this over a year ago, so prior to the last price increase. So I either paid somewhere in the high 300s or low 400s. Now, I bought this from the store, and at that time, I was open to either this one, the CDC one, or the mini Cluse one. And this was the one they had available in the store in my size. Now, I know technically this isn't a fine jewelry piece, but it is still a step up from fashion jewelry, and I'm happy to report that I've worn this on the daily ever since I bought it. So hands down, one of the few designer items I have used every single freaking day for the entire year. So if that's not a good cost per wear, I don't know what is. Now, I have no plans of adding any other silver ring into my collection, Hermes or otherwise. This is a one and done purchase for me, and I am so incredibly happy with it. It's so low key, simple, and I do get compliments on it from time to time by people that I'm pretty sure have no idea about Hermes. This just kind of blends into the whole Midwest silver jewelry look, so it's perfect for daily wear where I'm at. Now, granted, because I have a super small jewelry collection, every piece I currently have is worth it to me because every piece gets used frequently, if not daily. And I definitely want my collection to stay that way because, while handbags are an area I'm okay overindulging in, I definitely don't want that to be the case for everything in my wardrobe. So while I do have a few actual fine jewelry pieces that I have my eye on for 2024, the goal is definitely not to go crazy and not to add more than I can comfortably wear on a daily basis. I'm not someone that's big on stacks of bracelet, rings, necklaces. It's a personal taste, but to wear multiples of an item just feels super busy. So yes, I do have plans to add to my jewelry collection, but not beyond what I can wear at a single time. My second best cost per wear designer item is also a piece of Hermes jewelry, but it's not a fine jewelry piece. It's not a silver piece. It's actually one of their fashion jewelry pieces, and it is my Hermes ear cuff in the small size. Mine is in the gold color hardware with boxed calfskin leather, and the color is called Cannelle, and you can see it's this light honey brown. Now in the US, these currently retail for $305 for the small size. There are two sizes that I know of, but when I bought this, these were retailing at $285, and that was over a year ago. Now at that time, these cuffs were near impossible to find either online or in store. Now I feel like they're quite readily available, and these come in so many fun colors and hardware, and as tempting as it is to add another, I find it adds to my look, but not to the point where I need another color or metal hardware. Now, in terms of how often I've worn this, I'll pop this on whenever I wear my hair up. So I'm probably wearing her a good 3 to 4 times a week. So again, I've definitely gotten my money's worth out of this. I'm extremely happy with it, but no, I don't need another. And I do have a video about how this is my one and only piece of designer fashion jewelry that I'd recommend getting, and I still stand by it because as tempting and as cute as fashion jewelry can be, I just don't think they're worth it. However, now if this cuff ever was to get tarnished or if the leather was to peel, you best believe I will replace it with a new one. That's how much I love these things. My third best cost per wear designer item is a belt, and specifically it is my Versace Medusa head belt. Now what makes this my go-to belt to reach for has hands down got to be the mixed metal on the belt buckle. I mean, this just blends so seamlessly with any outfit that I put together. So if I'm more dressed up or more casual, if I'm wearing gold versus silver tone hardware, she just pulls any and all of it together. This is such a great piece to have, and I highly recommend getting something similar similar with a mixed metal concept. Now I've had her for maybe a year or two. I think she was in like the $400 range, but I've worn her probably at least once a week this past year. It's also funny because looking back, like when I was in my 20s, I never wore belts. I thought regular belts like these were overly masculine looking, and the only belts I had back then were either like very big statement belts or belts that were used with a dress, you know, to cinch in the waist. I mean, from a functional perspective, it's not like my pants were ever on the brink of falling off and that's why I needed a belt, but now I am a belt believer through and through. Like if my pants have belt loops, you best believe I'm putting on a belt, or else I just kind of feel naked and my outfit feels incomplete. So this truly was the belt I didn't know I needed. Like she's perfect. Maybe what would have made her even more perfect is if she was adjustable, like the Hermes Kelly belt. Like that would be the ultimate belt right there. Or even better yet, if Hermes could come out with a mixed metal Kelly belt, like maybe have the buckle be one metal and the plate another, kind of like how some of the Fendi Peekaboo turn locks have that mixed metal concept. And I feel like I may have seen certain Hermes bags with a Kelly lock with that same concept, but if that ever came out in belt form, I would jump on that in a heartbeat. Also, if you are returning, welcome back. And if you are new, welcome to A Briefcase of Luxury, a place where we love to chat about all things related to life, learning, and luxury. And while I have no intentions of quitting my day job as a business professor, your support really does mean the world to me. And I would love to grow this channel so we can all continue on our journey towards more mindful consumption. So thank you so much to those of you who have subscribed, liked, commented, or shared my videos. I truly do appreciate it. The next item on my list is a perfume, and while this isn't a designer item from a traditional luxury fashion house, I do consider it a designer luxury item, if nothing because of its price tag, and that is my Parfums de Marly in the original Delina scent. So I do have two versions of this. I have the original, and I also have the Delina La Rosée. I love both, but I use the La Rosée more often in the spring, summer. And the original one I find both light and robust enough to use all year round. So this scent is so beautiful, and so is the packaging. I mean, look at that. I love the little crystal detail on the top. I think this is the ultimate rose-based fragrance. Also, I know my designer journey isn't the most common compared to most folks. And I know for a lot of people, most people don't aim to have like shelves upon shelves of fragrances the way we often collect handbags and SLGs and shoes and scarves, etc. But I think it's safe to say for me, my first original designer obsession was handbags, and the next would be fragrances. Again, I know it's not the usual progression of people delving into the world of designer shopping. I feel like designer beauty and fragrance is something that either occurs sporadically or happens later on in the journey, unless you are a beauty product lover, which I honestly am not. Typically, I think fragrances are one-off purchases here and there. Most people don't make it a thing to collect multiple designer fragrances like they do bags. At least I don't think so. For me, my obsession with a good fragrance actually came pretty early on. Like I would always find myself trying to track down exclusive releases, special packaging, etc. But I can see why fragrances may not be the best cost per wear for everyone. It is a product that is perishable and therefore must be consumed. So the value may not seem to go as far, especially if it's like a special event fragrance and you're not using it on a daily basis. But I think investing in 1 or 2 daily scents that make you feel special on a day-to-day basis, I think that is so worth it. And for me, this one, I think this will be a forever repurchase for me. My next best cost per wear item is something I bought this year. These were on my luxury wish list for 2023. I do have an unboxing video, and it is none other than my Dior Star sneakers. Now, I had debated whether I needed another pair of white designer sneakers since I already do have the Hermes Kelly Day sneakers in white with the rose gold hardware. But from day one, I have found these to not be the most comfortable. Again, I have an entire video on why the day sneakers will not be a repurchase for me in any of its variations, as much as I enjoy the aesthetic look of them. But these sneakers, night and day difference. Like the only time I find myself reaching for the day sneakers now is if I'm specifically going for a dressy sneaker look, and I know for sure I won't be on my feet for like hours on end. I once wore these for like a good 10 to 12 hours and I was dying by the time I got home. So if I'm just looking for a nice pair of white sneakers, I'm picking these over the day sneakers for sure. Oh, also, I found these elastic shoelaces on Amazon just because I wanted to give the laces a cleaner look. So these are basically little elastic straps that you hook into each eyelet. So no more shoelace tying for me. Plus, while shoelaces can get dirty, these are technically some sort of like plastic material. Sorry, I'm probably too close to the camera here. But yeah, these are some sort of plastic material, so they are a lot easier to keep clean. I haven't had any issues with these snapping or breaking yet, but I do like the more minimalistic look compared to your traditional bunny ear shoelace situation. Now, my final best cost per wear item is a handbag. Now, just a quick caveat: for as much money as I spend on and for as much enjoyment as I get out of my designer handbags, I know they are not my best investments. At the same time, though, I've never treated any of my designer purchases as financial investments, and I see more and more people making that distinction between a designer item being a financial investment versus an investment for your wardrobe. I still think the latter is a bit of a stretch because at the end of the day, designer purchases are liabilities. They are not assets. If anything, they are very poor performing assets, again, save for a small handful of items from a small handful of brands. Because while investments should increase in value or benefit over time, the only benefit the majority of designer items provide is present and hedonistic at best. So even if you were to call it a wardrobe investment, I would say that most people fall out of love with an item and get less and less pleasure out of it over time versus the opposite. So no, designer purchases for me personally are not an investment, financial or otherwise. They are very much a liability. So what's more important again for me is how I utilize it over its existing lifetime. And there are others who don't believe in the cost per wear argument, but I think that makes a lot more sense than the investment argument. And that remains my primary buying principle for my designer purchases, just because there are other financial investment vehicles that I think make much better sense and are much more reliable than banking on the rising cost of an Hermes Quota bag or a Chanel Classic Flap. But with that out of the way, my final best cost per wear item is none other than my Hermes Birkin 35, which I solely use as a work bag. Now, I am not at all shocked that of all my bags, the handbag that delivered me the best bang for my buck in 2023 was a work bag, because as long as I want to make money, I have to go to work. And as long as I go to work, I will need a work bag that works for me. Now, I've mentioned previously that I have more work bags than I can work into my work bag rotation, which means there are some work bags that may not get used for an entire year. And that just has not been the case with the Birkin 35. She has consistently been rotated in, and she is still one of my favorite bags, work bag or otherwise. But I guess what's really funny is because she is a work bag, I actually get to spend a lot more one-on-one time with her than, say, any of my other bags, because she's with me for the entire day versus like bags I grab to run an errand here and there or just to take out to dinner. Like, I'm using those for less than an hour or so. But when it comes to the Birkin 35, she's up for the full workday when she's up. And what can I say? When I'm having a bad workday and I see her sitting pretty across the room, I think to myself, yeah, if I ever want another one of these, I'm just gonna have to keep on keeping on. So there you have it, my 6 best cost per wear designer items. I know that's an awkward number, but that's honestly what I'm working with. I could work my way up to a top 10 list, but the next best doesn't even come close. And if I had to stick to a top 5, then I'd be leaving something off the list that again came really, really close. So 6 items it is. So what does this mean for my luxury shopping wish list for 2024? I think there's a couple of things I need to keep in mind. Like, for instance, for as many designer bags as I have, they are not my best cost per wear category, and I have my theories for why. Number one, it's probably because I have more than someone realistically needs, which makes it hard to give the love and attention each bag deserves. And 2, it's probably because the bags my fantasy self wants is quite different from the bags my reality self needs. So with that being said, should bags even be on the list at all for 2024? We'll just have to wait and see. If anything, I may prioritize a couple of hard-wearing fine jewelry pieces instead of bags for 2024. But I'll be sure to share my list once I've given it more thought. Until my next video, I'm wishing everyone a wonderful holiday weekend, and thanks so much for watching.